y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Intelligent Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, the dive bar of the IWC. I don't remember what was next on that one. I gotta write that down. I'm gonna do it once and write it down. I don't remember what's next. I'm at Ref Marsh. We're at WOTR the show. This is where every show is our first show.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, we're doing it without a producer, so now I gotta think about too much stuff. It's not as natural. It's forced. With me today on Thursday Night Chaser to chase away the wrestling, we got MsAmandaJayne. Say hello, MsAmandaJayne.
Hello.
And with us today, making a debut, an episode 1 debut, it's time for Jeremy in time. Jeremy, say what's up.
Hello. What's going on, everyone?
Round of applause.
Whee! We wanted to have Jeremy on because, as anybody who listens to the show regularly knows, Justin Time comes on quite a bit, and Jeremy in Time is a regular in the chat. Justin and Jeremy have teamed up to do their own podcast called the In Time Wrestling Podcast. Having Justin on yesterday, I thought it was only fitting we get Jeremy on today to put it over one more time and to give the people, our drinking buddies, a little taste, a little sprinkle of what Jeremy's going to be bringing to the table for that show as well. They got 2 episodes out now. One dropped today about AEW and NXT. That's how I know he watched the product. And we have something to talk about. So you're only going to get a taste of his opinion here. And if you want the full thing, you're going to have to go to In Time Wrestling Podcast and check out the conversation he had with his brother, Justin. Let's start with a little something. Is anything else you want to say about the show, your In Time show, Jeremy?
All I have to say is about the episode that we did today. Apparently, neither me or Justin could speak English. So, Matt, just be warned that there are very, very, very many screw-ups just by talking.
Hey, you guys are the ones at fault for trying to number your episodes in order. That's what we stick to episode 1 because there's no apologies needed when it's always episode 1.
That's true.
Takes the weight off. Don't worry. No worries. It's only episode 1. For you
Mm-hmm.
got to worry, man. You're all the way on episode 2. Like, that's scary stuff. I've never done one of those.
That's your shtick. We can't take that.
Justin Time in the chat saying howdy to my dive bar friends. Cheers to Justin. Let's start with a little something simple. I'll start with a little bit of what's in your glass. We'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, what are you drinking?
I have just water today.
Just in water. Perfect. Yeah, totally fine. It's not about what you're drinking. It's about who you're drinking with, and we are your drinking buddies no matter what's in your glass. Famously, Clump has been on sobriety is very important to him, and he's been sober the entire time we've been doing this show. So we've always tried to maintain that drinking non-alcoholic is encouraged. But not me. I'm drinking alcoholic. Justin Time says, damn, you know how hard it is to English? Damn near impossible, which is true. I'm having Miller Lite.
No way.
Because I had too much whiskey yesterday. Last night's show went awry, I think, because of all the whiskey. So I'm trying to ease it up.
Yeah, that's why it went awry.
And but I'm using my Broken Skull koozie, so that way it looks like I'm drinking Stone Cold beer, but it's not out in this neck of the woods, so I have to go to California to get it. But that's what I'm having. Let's hit up Amanda real quick, and I'll hit up the chat. Amanda, what's in your glass?
Okay, I'm corporate Amanda again today, but I brought sponsored, not sponsored. Let me tell you, don't put it in the freezer. This is the second time this has happened where it's overfroze. So, yeah, I couldn't put anything in it, so I'm sorry. So
you're just gonna be
I'm boring today. It's just cherry slush.
There's nothing boring about cherry slush.
But I'm gonna have a ribeye soon, so I gotta order that for dinner.
You should definitely order that. Front row's in the chat, and the YouTube says box wine here. What's up, folks?
There's nothing wrong with box wine.
No, it goes down
Nothing
smooth.
wrong. Try it with a
Absolutely.
slush, a plain slush at Sonic. Try it. It'll change your life. I swear.
That's a great point. Yeah, you get the plain slush at Sonic, then you get that amazing ice slush with nothing in it. You pour your box wine in there. Man, summertime.
It's also really nice with Malibu, too, by the way. Put a little bit of pineapple juice in it, a little bit of Malibu.
Wine
in
is
some
nice with
natural-
Malibu?
What?
You're
The
saying
slush. The plain slush.
Oh, the
Yeah.
slush. Okay. I thought you were
And then
saying
put,
like boxed wine is good with Malibu, and I was like,
No, God, no. But I am curious about Strawberry Hill in Malibu, but
Well, yeah. I mean, that's,
probably die. So no,
that's possible.
don't
Uh,
try that at home, please.
Let's hit
Can't
up
live
some
with
of the
me.
new stuff. Amanda, you had birthdays, right?
Yes, there's lots of birthdays. Let me pull them up. So today, if you guys are familiar with the Bullet Club, the real Bullet Club, the one that's in Japan, the Tokyo Pimp, it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Pimp.
Happy birthday to the pimp.
You guys remember Mason Ryan from WWE?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, his birthday is today as well.
Nice.
Tomorrow is actually a lot of people. So we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's
Hope,
celebrating
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
I keep this
I
here
like
for
that.
anytime we talk about Hacksaw.
There you go.
Oh.
And then the bro, the ultimate bro, it's his birthday. So Mr. Riddle,
Oh, wow.
bro,
Birthday to Riddle.
smoke a bowl for us.
Happy bro
And
day.
then Casey Cantaro, she is also celebrating a birthday
Mm.
tomorrow. And then if you really want to go there, on the 15th, it's Shane McMahon, his birthday,
Oh, shit.
along with Kelly Kelly, who
That's
doesn't
cool.
look like Kelly Kelly anymore. But
Well,
I digress.
So happy birthday and cheers to all of them.
There is one though that is a special birthday today,
Mhm.
and not sure, guys. It's a good time to actually think about him. Is Shad Gaspar's birthday was today,
Yeah.
and I know everyone knows him from Crime Time, which I actually enjoyed Crime Time back in the day. I really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's one that I still kind of think of now. That I don't know if any of you guys have ever got to meet him. Totally awesome guy. Totally just one of the like purest, nicest people like ever. And I think that when how he passed and everything, it's a real true testament on like who he is. Like I could even compare a lot of the things that he did for community to not as much as Titus O'Neil, but I mean it was pretty close. So
Being out in Arizona, a lot of the indie talent here go between California and Arizona, and I believe he was no different. He came out to Arizona a few times. Actually, yeah, he was out here right before pandemic. He was Crime Time was doing a signing right down at the mall. And everyone I know who ever interacted with him was talking about how badass he was. And
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a funny story about Chad. I don't know if I want to, I don't know.
It's up to you.
About butts. I haven't talked about butts in a while.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
If it's a good
Yeah.
butt story.
Yeah, it's a good butt story. So it was at WrestleCon in Orlando. And there was a bunch of us who were kind of hanging out by Cole Cabana's booth, which is next to the AEW wrestling booth. So there were a bunch of people there. So it was like Shad was there, JTG was there, Chuck Taylor was there. I want to say, was Trent there? Yeah, Trent was there. Trent was there. Hornswoggle, Grado, Colt, some other people too. So I'm like standing there, like I'm in between like Colt and Shad and someone else. I think it was Grado. Next thing I know, all of a sudden Shad just turns around and looks at me. And I'm like, what? Colt grabbed his butt, right? And he's like, you grabbed my ass. And I go, I did not grab your butt. And then Colt's like laughing like a child in the corner. I go, no. I said, if I were to grab your ass and I looked at his butt, I said, it would have been with two hands. And he let me grab it. And I was like, see, that would be me. Yeah, we all laughed
Now you
about
know
it.
the difference. Now you
Now
know
you know the difference. Yeah. But great story. Great story.
Yeah,
I think Chuck Taylor was dying. He couldn't stop laughing for like 5 minutes, and like, I'm not touching your butt, Chuck. Sorry.
no butt check.
No butt, Chuck. Yes. So there you go. Nice little story.
Yeah.
And every time I would see him afterwards, he always remembered that. He's like,
Yeah.
"That's right. You grab with two." I'm like, "Yeah."
Well,
Like two fisting, grab two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tears in our beers and cheers to him on his birthday. Yeah, nothing but amazing stories for anybody who's ever had the opportunity to make a story with him.
And even like when they did kind of the night that the whole thing happened, there were so many wrestlers from the Los Angeles community that came out to try to search for him. I mean, you got John Morrison, Ty Valkyrie was there. I think Eli Drake was there too, if I'm not mistaken. But quite a few people who were from LA all went because he was that loved by everybody.
Well, moving along a little bit, shifting gears. As far as news goes, I'm just gonna say real quick and move along. We're just in case someone didn't hear yesterday and is just swinging through tonight. We're definitely not gonna be digging in on the MLW lawsuit against WWE strictly because it's a lot of contract talk, and I do not understand contracts. And nor am I privy to any of the conversations or the details, and it would be irresponsible for me to sit here and pretend I do and form an opinion on something that I couldn't be less educated about. So I'm going to go back to talking about what I do know, which is what I can see on TV, because I watch TV. Apart from that, though, I don't know that any other news really dropped today. I know that yesterday they announced at the Hammerstein Ballroom for GCW that you're going to get Alley Catch versus Ruby Soho.
Oh, very nice. I didn't see that.
A lot of people
And
are really excited
also,
about that one.
Did you see the promo that Giancarlo did with Alley Cat? Beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you guys ever like really kind of want to see like what is a good like promo, like what is a good wrestling promo, I always suggest watch anything that Giancarlo does. And if you could see from the first time he did one, which was the original Joey Janela Spring Break one with Change Fund Joey, to now, it just blows me away. I mean, he's awesome. And if you ever get to meet him, he's a really fucking cool dude. So, yo.
Yeah, no, Giancarlo's incredible. Matter of fact, just like a week ago, I reached out to one of the guys out here who's an indie wrestler, and I was like, hey, if you want to shoot videos, I really want to do some. Like, we could try and not bite his style, but like I think it'd be cool to do something along those veins and stuff. And then he was all like, oh yeah, I decided to stop wrestling. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I saw the video promo about Alley Cat, and it was very very reminiscent of the multiple Ruby Soho promos that she was having when she was reaching her destination, which would be AEW, and it was super cool to see. It was very like similar in very different ways, and when she steps away from the wall and it says Soho, it's just very cool imagery.
Yeah.
No, that's dope. I think it'll be cool for her to. Has she gone through GCW at all? Is this gonna be your first time doing anything with GCW? Ruby?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because before she was signed, I want to say, because I had seen her at AEW in Chicago, freelance in Chicago. I want to say maybe, I know she did Beyond.
Yeah.
Because she had some really good, and I think she did Chikara maybe once or twice. Because I want to say there was a really good one with her and Kimberly.
Yeah.
But they always had great matches, though. So.
Yeah, I was about to say their rivalry was pretty big on the indies. But yeah, so I mean, if it's her first time going through GCW, she's gonna love it. Like that's gonna be dope. The crowd's gonna eat her up. You know what I mean? Well, in a good way. When I was at the GCW show, I remember thinking it was like, man, everybody's over except for the people I like a lot. Like they were booing the shit out of like my Jacob Fatu, and I was like, no, but they're like cheering everybody else and everything that they do and stuff. So like,
But But they love fat too, though. They all do.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
who doesn't?
Yeah,
I
they were
do
just
not
booing
like
the shit out of
peanut
him. I was like, come on. But he was also just beating the absolute shit out of Charlie Starboy Charlie.
Yeah. Well,
And he's over, so.
yeah, everyone loves Charlie. Poor guy. He's still I still see him at the shows. It's gonna be a while for him to come back, but that kid, if you haven't seen him, keep your eyes out on him, because that kid is just amazing. And he's so young.
And Justin Time in the chat says AJ Gray wants to face Eddie Kingston at the exact same Hammerstein show.
Yeah.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I think he will. I really do. I think he will. That's going to be a really good show. I mean, I'm really kind of excited for it. I do. If you are in the area,
Please have a drink.
I do know people who are
no
selling
idea.
their
You guys
tickets.
talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
You can say the next thing.
Yeah. So if you want to go to Hammerstein, because it's sold out, I know people who have some good seats, balcony, and I'm trying to think where the other one was. Can't remember where the other one was, but I would go if I could go, but I can't go.
Yeah, I would too. Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially
I'm kind of kicking myself for not going.
Yeah. Especially
Are you able to get rid of that ticket?
Oh, actually, here's what happened. I'm going tomorrow. Yeah, my mom's doctor canceled the appointment. So luckily, they didn't sell my ticket, and I have it. So, yeah, because I'm so pumped for tomorrow's card. It's not even funny. I mean, shoot, like God, there's so many great things. I'm excited because I get to see Speedball Mike Bailey. Finally, I've never seen him before because of the visa issues. So I've only seen him on videotapes, like old PWG and whatnot, stuff from England, and I'm excited about that. So that's one thing, because since I'm not going to BOLA, that was a cool thing. Homicide. Was it Homicide in Fatu? Maybe? I can't remember. Let me pull this up.
Yeah. Grimmy coming through the chat saying hi.
Hi.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. Right before we get into, I'm gonna have you guys break down AEW a bit, because I don't have any other real news, to be honest, unless there's something you guys have. Guys. But NXT UK, we went ahead and checked that out today. Really good show. It was Walter's last match in the UK. Fucking phenomenal. He's such a beast.
Is he moving out here into the States?
He's going to NXT proper, which is really weird.
That is weird.
Why? If he's been doing NXT UK for as long as he has, I mean, what do they say? 800 days? He showed up in 2019. What is he gonna pick up in NXT proper that he can't just take to the main roster? Like, I don't know.
Maybe they don't want him to kill everybody on the main roster. I don't know.
Let him die.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird, because it was known that Walter said that he didn't want to move to the U.S. So it makes you wonder what changed his mind ultimately. But
so not to get into like the gossipy dirt sheets, but my understanding was that he was with someone and they split, and that now the person he's with is much more open to the idea of being in America than the person he was with previously. However, that's all gossip mongering, and I don't know, but I agree with you. If that would be the only thing that would keep someone from moving to the States or not, feels to me like there's probably a little bit more to the story than that, but maybe it's just that simple. Either way, whatever his reason, fucking thrilled he's gonna be back in the States. Like, I saw him perform in 2019 at the Royal Rumble. He was in those Worlds Collide tournament, and I was able to go see him against Cassius Ohno, because I happened to be in the building when it was happening, and I was like, oh shit, so cool. So if it's more opportunity to potentially meet him and see him and go to a show live, then yeah, I'm gonna take it.
He scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's badass, and he's bigger than ever.
He's so tall, and there's like his expression on his face is just kind of it's very stoic, and you're just like, oh my god.
And he's in the best shape of his life. His arms are twice the size they were when he joined the company.
Yeah.
Like, you can check out his new. He just posted on Instagram a little bit ago, and this picture of him slapping the guy in his final match, and his arms just look huge. It's crazy.
Ooh.
What were you gonna say, Jeremy?
I said, and he's so lean too. He's leaned down a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a terrifying force.
Yeah.
Front row in the chat says dirt sheets are trusted sources with the eye roll. I know, that's what I'm saying, dude. The thing is you can't lie if what you're saying is made up to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, as long as I keep making it up, it's not a lie. Right? I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I think that's what journalism is. But yeah, so I just want to say that if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's really cool. Really nice farewell. Show closed with a close-up of his face, and he looked a little bit of emotional, but keeping it together.
No way.
Just badass. Fucking badass.
Walter emotional? No way.
He was holding it together really good, but you could tell. It was there. It was
I'll have to take a look.
but you guys want to go ahead and talk about AEW?
Yeah.
They had, 30 hours of TV this week?
Yeah. Standard, you know.
Yeah, standard.
Standard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. God, I don't even know where to begin with it. You know, I mean,
I'm trying to think. You had Rampage, you had Battle of the Belts, you had Dynamite, and then you had anything that happened on Dark and Dark Elevation.
Dark, and then
Being the Elite.
Oh, I didn't watch Being the Elite was kind of Being the Elite. I feel nowadays is not. It's kind of breaking away from, which is good. I'm like, finally, you know, like no. But Rampage, I don't know how excited I am about Jade Cargill winning the belt.
I'm not excited at all.
Yeah, I don't know why.
She's all substance and zero talent. And I hate to say that because it sounds very harsh, but it's true.
Well, I wouldn't say zero, but I see what you're saying. I posed a question the other day to some friends where I said, what's the difference between Jade Cargill and Ultimate Warrior or Bill Goldberg? And that's not to slam or get some, dunk on anyone. It's realistically, Goldberg and Ultimate Warrior were very successful and are legends in the business because of their level of charisma, their level of intensity, and how they looked.
Yeah.
That's kind of the impression I get off of Jade Cargill. Not to say that she is all those things, but I also wonder, is she going to stand the test of time the way that those guys have received a lot of criticism over the test of time? The one thing we know about Ultimate Warrior, because no one's quiet about it, is no one liked to work with him. You know what I mean? No one thought he was good in the ring. Is this what's going to happen whenever she retires? People are going to be all like, oh, flash in the pan, it was all body. I suspect not, because I feel like she's getting better, but I do feel like it's a little soon to throw a title on her.
It definitely is very soon, in my opinion. And I do genuinely hope that she gets better, but in her current state, what's like right now, I get that she's on an undefeated streak, but a streak and a nice physique should not mean slap a title on her.
Yeah, and what's her championship streak? How many matches is it?
I think it's like 21 or 22 or 23 in a row.
Yeah, just 23-0 now.
23-0. Mm-hmm. Goldberg was 160 when he won his title.
If a physique and a win streak meant anything, Wardlow would be like TNT champion. He won 18 straight matches, and well, it was 18, and now the streak is over because he lost to Punk. But
yeah.
If a streak and a physique meant anything, then Wardlow would be like TNT or world champion.
He should be.
And they've had a long number of streaks there in the company. Like MJF was on a hell of a streak. He's only lost, I think, once, right?
Yeah.
FTR was on a massive streak for a long time. It's not uncommon for their guys to go on these streaks. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I agree.
Unless you're Eddie Kingston.
Eddie Kingston's on a different type of streak.
Yeah.
Well, he's on that Fuego del Sol streak.
Oh no, not that bad.
Let's hope it doesn't get that bad.
Yeah, no, that's not that bad. But Sprinkler Gate did kind of, Sparkler Gate did kind of push him toward the Fuego del Sol kind of.
Dude, I was so nervous on New Year's for Eddie Kingston. I get, like, it's the same way, like, when you think about your neighbor's dogs and you go, man, I hope someone's watching that dog. It's going to be freaking out. Like, with Eddie Kingston, knowing there's fireworks going off, I was like, someone needs to be with him.
PTSD.
He can't be alone.
Someone needs to check on him before he starts freaking out.
Check on
Yeah.
Eddie. It's midnight.
Start covering his nearest friend or something.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to jump on his closest buddy and pass out. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I wonder.
You know, here's the other deal too. Is so you already have Jade Cargill, who's a little fresh to be getting a title where it's already going to be criticized by some. But the other problem is that you have Tony with his shitty, insensitive tweet, which just goes on to create a whole narrative that's not necessary right now. You know what I mean? Like, now you have people claiming that he put the title on Jade just as almost a backlash response to having made that horrible tweet. You know what I mean? And it's like that. The conversation of, like, is someone ready for a title should not involve that kind of conversation. And that's what when I was last week talking about what a terrible thing for him to tweet, and especially not to re-acknowledge, really falls into, because now you're here, where now it's a conversation that doesn't need to happen because of that decision. That to me is the biggest reason why you got to watch yourself in these tweets, because the ramifications aren't just do people think you're a dick. Now it's bleeding into, is this person a reaction to that? And you don't want someone's career to be influenced in that way. You know what I mean? You'd want to be able to say, oh, well, clearly they gave her the title because she's such a big persona. End of story. What is her wrestling up to par or not is a fun little back and forth we can have. But the idea that the conversation online got to a point with, well, this is a direct reaction to that, is kind of like, well, that sucks. That's why Tony's got to watch his mouth, because it's a conversation we don't need. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was just poor timing, especially if let's put into perspective that it wasn't that Jade winning wasn't because of his tweet. Let's put in perspective that it probably wasn't that. It's still terrible timing that he put that tweet out anyway, because now people have that perspective that it could have been.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I think that there's every possibility she was going to win in either way. And I, like you, I'm under the impression she was winning it regardless. But now that perspective's out there because of that thing. And that's what I was hoping we got across last weck about, like, dude, you got to watch what you say because there's ramifications. Real quick, I'm going to hit the chat. Splinter Fox there says, hello, everybody. He's got, oh, that's dope. He's got an Ember Moon doing her badass Ember Moon move on, looks like Alexa Bliss. Or maybe Charlotte. I don't know. He goes, hello, everybody. And he goes, Jade, I believe, is now at the make it or break it. She has all eyes on her. I hope the best for her. She needs some great opponents to bring her out of her shell. And he goes, Athena would be an amazing opponent for Jade. She'd be an amazing opponent, or even a tag member. If they're going to be, everyone's in a faction anyways. Not that I'm trying to do one of those factions of, like, put likes to like, but just her pedigree with someone fresh like a Jade, someone who's comfortable in front of the screen, someone who's talked so much, she could slide right into a coaching role, but actively as an active wrestler too. Like, that whole veteran rookie thing is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that this title reign is definitely make it or break it for Jade. However, just as a little sidebar, AEW unfortunately did the thing that they did with the TNT title that I unfortunately really just do not like, which they combined the regular women's championship and the TBS championships rankings into one ranking. So people, it's hard. They did the same with the world title and the TNT title. So it's hard to decipher if, let's say, like, on the 7th was their most recent ranking update, Adam Cole is number 1. Well, is he number 1 for the World Championship or the TNT Championship? No one knows because they're the same ranking.
Huh. Yeah. I've never been a fan of the ranking system, and clearly they aren't either, because I don't think they invest a lot into it. They just kind of post it all the time. But yeah, I could definitely Because then everyone's got to. I mean, at that point too, like
in our episode today that me and Justin did, I went on a whole rant about the AEW ranking system and how it's just a mess.
Oh yeah, it's a disaster. I mean, and like if you wanted to have one ranking for both titles, like how do you do that without undermining one of the titles, right? Like how like would you be able to say, oh, if you're ranked 5, then you're primed for the TNT title, but then you're saying that the TNT title is less valuable. You know what I mean? And they're trying really hard to make it not seem like it's a mid card thing, even though it's that spot. But yeah, you combine those and definitely have an issue. Spinner Fox says she needs to not worry about the toxic Twitter though, and not let it get to her. I see some toxic stuff about her. Yeah, there's all sorts of bullshit online that you kind of have to just not pay attention to. He goes, I think the TNT and the TBS should be an open challenge. By Splinter Fox. Yeah, I would have no problem with that. Just constant open challenges, and maybe you don't do a weekly open challenge, but maybe whenever it's defended, it is because it's an open challenge. The TNT champion comes out, and who's it gonna be? You know what I mean?
That's pretty much what they've done with the TBS title. I don't remember the last time a person in the top 5 has had a TBS championship match.
The TNT, you mean?
TBS. Or not TBS, TNT, my bad.
Yeah.
Even Cody, I don't think he was top 5 when he got his most recent. Daniel Garcia on Dynamite, he wasn't top 5. He got a title match. Jay Lethal got a title match immediately as soon as he signed. It seems like they're just the TBS or not panels. The TNT championship is just sort of like whoever wants a title match, just walk up and ask.
Yeah. And I'm cool with that. I think I'm okay with that. Although I wish that you didn't do that and then disappear. Like, we haven't seen Jay Lethal since it happened.
Yeah, we did.
When?
Yeah, we saw him on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
He came out Dynamite? And helped Dante Martin.
This week?
Yep.
Oh, okay, good. He's back. Yeah. In the chat real quick, Huge Pop Wrestling says, I'm not a fan of the TNT interim title situation. It's just a stupid setup for Sammy versus Cody in the near future. Let's talk about that. Let's get into that.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. Good topic.
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's
my first question.
Stupid.
What was the point? Cody's coming back a week later.
Yeah. It was
needs
weird.
To be way more.
Actually, when they announced they were doing that, I sent it to Kev because Kev, the night before they announced that on our Wednesday show, said that without knowing how long Roman was going to be out, he's like, if it turns out he was going to be out for a while, because, you know, there was a lot of speculation on his health and how his comfort level and all that stuff. He goes, maybe they could have an interim Universal Champion and actually build towards a Roman versus the interim champion at Mania, and you kind of have a kind of a preset build that gives Roman tons of time off if he needs it, right? The next day they announced we're going to do the and one of the things I mentioned is like it's something we don't see very often as an interim champion. We have sometimes in the past seen somebody disappear with the championship and a new title is made and put on somebody, but very rarely have we ever had a legitimate in wrestling interim champion. And I was like, I love the idea. I think it'd be great. And then the next day they announced they were doing the TNT interim. And I was like, Kev, it looks like you made a difference over there. But it's also for someone who we know is going to be back in a week. So like a week. Darby Allin had the TNT title and didn't defend it for almost 3 months. 4 months, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, 4 months.
Now you have a champion who's going to just be absent 1 week. And they're like, well, we can't have this. It was silly. I think it was silly, and I think they felt like they were in a corner because they wanted to do that Battle of the Belts where every single title was going to be defended, and now they're in a situation where one title holder couldn't show up.
Well, here's the thing. Battle of the Belts, there's only 3 belts that got defended. So how can you say and advertise that it's all these belts when there were only 3?
Really?
And one doesn't even count.
Yeah, one of them's a title that they don't even recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't defend all of them?
No. You
They
get
just-
the interim crap.
Yep.
You got the FTW one.
Yeah.
And then you've got
The women's?
DMD.
That was
You know?
it? They didn't do
Yeah,
the tag? Oh.
Nope. The 3 matches were Sammy versus Dustin Rhodes, Britt Baker versus Riho, and Ricky Starks versus I don't remember Matt
That's I know.
Sydal.
Well, that makes it worse, because that would have been so easy to fix otherwise. Oh, it looks like our TNT champion's going to be out. He won't be able to defend his title. We're going to have a tag title match instead, because we're going to give you not 1 belt, but 2 belts. You know what I mean? Like, you can easily fix that with any other title.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous. Or even say, now we're going to make Jade defend her TBS championship that she newly won. Can she hold it for longer than 2 weeks? Let's find out. You know what I mean? Like,
No Hangman.
no Hangman.
You know.
And the thing about this interim title thing that I don't understand is like was said, it's clearly leading to another Sammy Cody match. Are we really going to have Sammy lose to Cody again?
Hell yeah.
But if he doesn't lose to Cody again, what was the point of Cody getting the TNT title from Sammy in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
Ego.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spin Fox is in the chat real quick, says, so is Leo retired again? Jay White helping out with Martin. It's funny. And it says, Dustin should have won. We could have had Cody and Dustin too. That would have been awesome. Speaking of that, what was wrong with Dustin during the match? Did you guys know anything off or wrong with Dustin during that match?
No.
To be completely honest with you, I did not watch Battle of the Belts. Because I figured out that it was 3 belts on the line, and I was like, this is not a battle.
And one of them was the FTW.
Mm-hmm. I watched it.
I do know that as they started that match, they said, just to be clear, this title's not recognized as an official title from any company. Mm-hmm. Like, why did you say that?
Why even have this match to begin with?
Yeah.
Well, because you know why? It's because Ricky Starks is an outsider now. He doesn't get the love the Team Taz love. It's all about Hook, which I understand. I get it. And then Hobbs.
I mean, Starks is lucky that they let him show up at all. I mean, when's the last time we even saw Brian Cage?
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
When was the last time we saw Brian Cage?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know if Brian Cage is still part of AEW.
Yeah, I believe if he is. He's doing a match with Hammerstone soon. I know that. I'm excited about that.
He's still doing Warrior Wrestling as he always does.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for him to like pop up on Impact. Like, oh, he went back to Impact. Okay.
Yeah. I was actually. Spinner Fox does say he seemed like he could not catch his breath. I don't know, man. He wrestles like once every 3 months. These guys don't wrestle all the time like they used to.
Who?
You know?
Dustin?
Yeah, you're saying Dustin couldn't catch his breath, but.
Well, I saw today. I saw today on Twitter. He tweeted out that he said that COVID sucks. I thought to myself, I really hope he did not wrestle with COVID.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah. Well.
Let's see. As we're still talking about Battle of the Belts, Spinner Fox says, speaking of Starks, what the hell was he wearing last night? Looking like he time traveled back to the 90s and stole some WCW fans' attire.
Well, okay. First of all, the shirt was his shirt, and I will say that his shirts totally, since he got a PWT store, they've all sucked. I don't know. I'm a fan of the old school ones. I mean, honestly, I had a friend of mine buy the Stroke Daddy, the phone one, because it was such an awesome shirt.
Yeah.
You know, and he sold out of those like right away. But that shirt at least is probably the best of all of them that we got. So, yay. Those little gloves, right? I was thinking OJ Simpson, you know.
What?
If, you know, the glove doesn't fit. He wore gloves, okay? There were these little, I think they were leather. I don't know. Could have been.
They didn't fit?
Well, it didn't look like it because they were like, you know, like little mini. I've never seen that, but it to me looked like they were like OJ trying to put the glove on, you know?
It's ridiculous.
That's what I thought right away. And I was like, what? Yeah. And then I don't know. His fashion lately, I don't know. I don't know.
Huge
I
Pop
can't
Wrestling
tell
says
you.
AEW dropped the ball in the Battle of the Belts. I think Khan was trying to compete with the Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. I feel AEW fell short for sure. I've seen a few people talk about that. Do you
Mhm.
think that they specifically put it on at the same time as the Impact pay-per-view as a
Yep.
dig?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because Scott D'Amore, I think, really has done more of the Forbidden Door and really kind of stuck with that more so than AEW did at all. They're like, yeah, we're the first. No, actually, Impact has really done a lot, kind of spreading that love. So
I mean, historically speaking, a lot of companies have worked with each other throughout the years. It's just that Tony tried to coin that phrase and trademark it as himself or whatever. So, and then with the WWE Impact situation, I could see him being even more bitter with that. But and then a lot of people, as soon as WWE made that announcement about Mickey, a lot of people were saying they've already done more for Impact and the women's division there than AEW ever did. So AEW's getting kind of shit on for that. So I could see them doing it as a thing. I don't understand contracts. I don't think that any company can tell a TV station when they go, but hey, he might have sway. I don't know. What are you going to say, Jeremy?
They're definitely not wrong with saying that WWE in one segment did more than the entire 4 or 5 months of AEW Impact collaboration. WWE literally said, "Hey, this is the Impact Knockouts champion. She's going to be in our Rumble." Their Twitter even tweeted out, "The Impact Knockouts Women's Champion is going to be in the Royal Rumble." And every company that Mickey's involved in currently, Impact, NWA, Scott D'Amore, they all responded to it.
Yeah.
They've done more exposure than AEW did. AEW stole their world title.
Yeah, and then didn't even put it on their own TV.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Spinnerfox says Twitch wrestling tomorrow. Thunder Rosa versus Valkyrie. Yeah. Zicky Dice is doing that show. We looked at the card. To be honest, that's the only match on there, Thunder Rosa and Valkyrie, that I saw and thought, oh shit, I want to see that one. Every other match I was all like, take it or leave it. Like, I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but the card,
It's not that great. Let's be real.
it just didn't look that great. But this one, Thunder Rosa versus Ty Valkyrie, and I know not a lot of people are talking about it. And if I'm being honest, I think the reason is because it's been a long time since we've seen Ty Valkyrie or Frankie Monet, whatever you want to call her, in a really solid match. So there's just not a lot of shine on her right now. But this could be the one that gets that shine back for sure. Because we all think she's capable. Just shit was not clicking in NXT for whatever reason it was. None of her matches there were like anything people were talking about. Yeah,
Robert Stone.
I also blame Robert Stone.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I got no problem blaming him.
Yeah,
Everyone
no problem.
Robert Stone is just diminished and made to look like a fool.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
haven't seen him in a while. Oh.
He's been doing a few things here and there, staring at. Who's he been staring at out there?
He's staring at
Watching
Von Wagner.
Yeah, Von Wagner. I don't need Von Wagner with Robert Stone, if I'm being honest.
No.
Get out of a fan.
Yeah. Spinnerfox says, Ricky starts looking who's ready for a street fight. Justin says, Battle of the Belts was never going to come close to Hard to Kill. Yeah, I've heard nothing but awesome things about Hard to Kill. I've heard that it was fantastic top to bottom. And I hear that they've been doing that with their pay-per-views. That as much as we want to give Impact shit for people not watching and stuff like that, that their pay-per-views have all last year delivered. Every time they did a pay-per-view, people were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So
they've got some great talent over there, and I mean, yeah, and it's one of those ones that obviously, AEW slept on, and hey, even WWE to a certain extent, because I mean, Trey Miguel, the third rascal, I mean, he's phenomenal, but he's killing it over Impact right now.
Oh yeah, those Impact guys are putting in work.
Moose, the current world champion. He's fantastic.
I love Rich Swann, and then that weird the Sue Young and the pregnancy that trips me out. So yeah, gotta love her. Cheers to you.
Justin Time says AEW never had a single Impact person on their show either, and they barely sent people to Impact either. Yeah, it's like they just had some weird.
They did.
They had the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, well, I know.
That was the whole thing. The whole thing was the Good Brothers. But, you know, that's what it is.
Sammy Callahan wanted to come over, but no. I don't know what happened with that, but
Yeah.
that would have been
Spinner
awesome.
Fox says 80% could be true that Flip burned bridges to All Elite. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
How would Flip burn bridges?
Yeah. He says Sammy Callahan showed up on AEW. But that was like a segment, and they never revisited it on AEW TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did that a lot with the thing. Like Kenta, too. Oh, my God! And then you just never see the guy again. And you're like, oh, okay. I don't know. It's weird, the whole thing. Let's see. I want to go back on something real quick. One thing that we didn't talk about in the news, but was relevant because of this weird conversation that's been happening due to Tony, and largely a lot of the company doesn't seem to know how to tweet or handle themselves online. AEW announced they're doing a hip-hop album to be released during Black History Month.
That's kind of insulting.
Seems very convenient.
Yeah. Well,
I wanted your opinion on it because I felt like it seemed a bit potentially insulting and insensitive. But it was also like... So here's the deal. Here's the problem with it, is if this has been in the works for a long time, that's one thing. But again, if Tony's going to tweet the way he tweeted and then this comes out, it sounds reactionary and like a real insensitive manner in which you want to handle things. Well, what can we do to make this right? I know, hip-hop. And you're like, no. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, it just... If they were working on it before and talked about it before, it would be different. The problem is that they're saying all this stuff now.
Not only are they releasing a hip hop album, but they're releasing a hip hop album during Black History Month.
And that's how they announced it. A hip hop mixtape to be released during Black History Month.
Okay. If Cody is not rapping on it, I don't want to have anything.
He's going to be the cover of it. There's no way.
Oh, man. Come on now.
You're going to see Cody with chains, and he's going to be carrying the Acclaim's beatbox.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spinner Fox says, I bet Leo's in charge of it. Leo did say that he's dropping a mixtape next month. So I wouldn't be surprised.
It's this one.
I don't think it's this one.
No, I don't. No.
I think it's secondary. But I also think that all that stuff that Leo was saying online, and then so here's the other reason that makes it suspect is during all that stuff, it became really suspicious how a lot of their talent were going online to defend Tony Khan and talk about how good Tony is. And one of the people specifically was Leo Rush, who was really upset about it, and then all of a sudden goes to a taping and then tweets going, I'm really happy I sat down with Tony. We've got some really cool projects we're going to work on. And part of me is like, did Tony just say, I'll record an album for you? Like, I know you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking insane. Because even if they want to do something good right now, like, it looks like a PR stunt.
Yeah,
every time.
It's like Leo walked into Tony's office. It's like, hey, I genuinely think we got a diversity problem here in AEW. And Tony's like, yeah, that's great and all, but what if I put you in a rap album?
I love rap. I love hip hop. Yeah, I'm all about.
Don't you see all my black friends?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we all do, but at the same time, it's like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? What does it look like after the fact? If he hadn't tweeted that shit and never apologized, and then this came out, you'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on there. But to do it now is kind of like, okay, this is fucking suspect at best.
All right. You want something really suspect? Do you know who the 4 AEW people are who are going to be on this album?
Oh, you've got a list of people on the album?
I have a list right now. I had to look it up because I was curious. Leo Rush.
Yeah.
Think about that. Max Caster, obviously.
Yeah.
Sonny Kiss. Think about that one, too.
Okay.
And Isaiah Cassidy.
Spinner Fox says, if Austin Gunn is in it, would that be good taste or bad taste?
Bad taste.
I think so.
Who
was the very last one again?
Isaiah Cassidy.
And
then people like Mega Ran and Josiah Williams will be on the album as well.
Here, Josiah Williams, dope.
Mhm.
Does Lee Moriarty make music, or does he just come out with
No.
the headphones?
He's got the headphones, but no, he does
Yeah.
not make music. Someone else does it.
I know he's obsessed with music because he's talked about it in an interview. I just didn't know if he made music because that'd be interesting. But at the same time, doesn't this feel an awful lot like you think we have a diversity issue? Check out this mixtape and tell me there's a diversity
Leo,
issue.
we've got Sunny
Like-
Kiss. We're hitting all the cylinders here. You know?
Not only are we making this mixtape, but we'll release it in February.
Yeah.
Yes. And there'll probably be a special limited edition that comes with a horrible shirt from Pro
Yeah,
Wrestling Tees.
Yeah,
That's
through
probably
PWTs
going to give
only.
money to, I don't
Cody's
even
favorite-
know.
Cody's favorite charity, whatever that is.
Yeah, his favorite, charity.
Yeah, the
Besides
shirt's
himself.
gonna be Cody. Yeah, I
With
don't know.
blackface.
It's just
No, that's
it's
horrible.
weird.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was horrible.
yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, it's really
I do
bad,
wonder.
but-
In a similar tone, though, I was looking at Aleister Black during Brody King's debut, which we can get into right now too.
Mhm.
Aleister Black had mentioned that the idea of the eye paint was that like he was effectively being infected by the character Malachi Black, and as it took over his entire face, it was going to get more power. He's at a full half face, and I looked at that
Almost.
half face, and I was all like, if he goes full face, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of black with almost no white in it. Do you think he's going to keep going with it, or do you think he stops at the half?
I think it's
Or do you think... I think if he wanted to do more, he's going to have to start adding more spirals and shit. Like, make more designs, because
Yeah.
when I saw the one half he had last night, I was all like, if you put that on both sides, that's a fucking issue.
Yeah.
So, I hope he at least is smart enough.
And then not to mention the fact that, like you said, Malachi said that the paint on his face is to symbolize that he's more infected, and the more that he's infected, the more paint that it covers, it is more powerful.
Yeah.
But half of his face is painted, and he's getting beat up by 3 people. You would think if it's halfway there to being like the most powerful being in AEW, which that's how it sounds like, you would think halfway would be able to handle Penta, Griff Garrison, and Brian Pillman Jr. without the help of Brody King. But
For sure. Especially because those guys job out a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially Varsity Blondes.
What do you think about Brody King coming on, Amanda?
Brody King. Now, here's my question. Okay, because I know this confused a lot of people, because obviously right now Malachi Black and Brody King, Cody, oh God, horrible, sorry, he infects everybody, are the tag team champs at PWG, the Kings of the Black Throne. Okay, and your favorite commentator, Marsh, reminded us that, it's the Kings of the Black Throne. Okay, most people don't know what that is. And then there's the House of Black. So what is it?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Is it the House of Black? Is it now the, Kings of the Black Throne? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, they should just go by Tattooed Turmoil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one. They almost have the same tattoo. There was a photo of them that someone had taken. I think it was Mikey Nolan had taken at PWG when they won the titles. And I was looking at them and I'm like, do they have some of the same tattoos? I think they might.
I mean, there's only so much flash art tattoos you can get before it starts to be repetitive with other people. They have all their tattoos look like they walked in and said, yeah, that one. Pointed at the wall.
It would surprise me with how much they've teamed over the years that they would decide to get at least somewhat similar tattoos.
Well, you'd almost want to if you guys are into the same shit. Some of that stuff.
Yeah.
There's a buddy of mine that we almost got the exact same tattoo just because we both liked the Ninja Turtles that much. But, we went our separate ways with it. Let's see. Spinnerfox says, oh yeah, Malachi's Black has a red eye too, which is cool. Spinnerfox says he thinks Julie is going to turn on the blondes.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Do you think she's going to turn to
Yeah.
House Black?
Yeah, think so.
Yeah, she's probably going to remove the eye patch, and it's going to have some sort of infection going on.
Mhm.
That would be cool. And then
That'd be
she
cool.
could, like, they could shave her head and then just take her off TV like they did with that woman when Brandy did it.
True.
Remember
Yeah.
Brandy had that thing, they shaved her head and then just never showed her again? Like, you just
Mhm.
shave some lady's head for no reason.
Yeah.
Justin says, I hope they don't add Julia Hart. They could find so much better.
Oh,
I mean,
You know.
but it'd be an interesting story. The idea of, like, cheerleader to evil is at least interesting.
yeah, evil cheerleader.
You don't want to be too much on the nose all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be like, oh, who else is out there that's really dark and could join it? It's like, or who could we turn who's super
Yeah,
good?
put
and
your
can
blade
make
in the
look dark?
bunny. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, they're not going to throw Abaddon in there.
Mm. Oh,
Oh, that's a good point. Splinter Fox had Abaddon and laughed too. That's a good point. Yeah, that'd be. See, that's too on the nose and shit. That's what I mean. You know?
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Splinter Fox says CD should join the House of Black. Who's CD? Christopher Daniels?
Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, Fallen Angel.
Because then we'll give Frankie a new thing besides being an elite hunter.
AEW's even dropped that.
Well, no, on the cruise he was still the elite hunter.
Yeah, it's long-term storytelling, Jeremy. As long as they circle back eventually, it's long-term.
Right.
I'm still waiting on certain. We're still waiting on certain things.
Yeah,
Let's
like
go
most
there.
of them.
Yeah, like most of them, they don't come back. Yeah.
Let's see, what was the other stuff that was happening that was big there? Brody King, I'm happy for Brody King. I think it's cool.
Mhm.
It's dope. He's
Yeah.
going to be there with his buddy. They're going to do cool stuff, have fun. I'm happy he's getting the paycheck. But I will tell you, I am definitely at a point right now that I am so static to debuts in AEW. It's every week. It's somebody who shows up. They get the big whoa, and then very little happens here. 3 months later, they show up. Gone again for 2 months. They have a lot of stuff on YouTube. Like, there's just... I'm not seeing much of anybody, including CM Punk, where even with CM Punk is like the best example of how much can you give the guy, right? They give him promos every week, and I'm super tired of what he's doing. So we had Wardlow and CM Punk, and I think Jeremy, you'd mentioned before that CM Punk went through a table a dozen times, or they got powerbombed a dozen times, went through a table. Here's the deal. I don't know if you caught it. I was watching it. I'm obsessed with Bret Hart. Here's my problem with CM Punk. Is he thinks he's as good as Bret Hart.
Yeah.
So this match was a cover of Bret vs. Diesel for the championship in 92? I might be off. It's probably closer to like 94, 95, something like that. But it was the Diesel Bret match. Almost like a lot of it was very, very much the same match. And my problem is I don't know if you've been to a lot of cover bands, but no one's ever said they're just as good as the original band. CM Punk is a cover band act of Bret Hart, and he's not as good at it. Because here's the other deal. He's trying to copy matches that Bret Hart made in a very specific time and place with a very specific opponent at both of their current skill levels. CM Punk is not currently at the skill level that Bret Hart was in the prime of his career. He's just not, and it shows. So I'm getting real fucking tired of seeing CM Punk put on cover matches and have everyone go like, oh, this is wild. I'll just go watch Bret Hart because he did it right the first time.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the match was like pretty much a copy and paste of Bret and Diesel.
Yeah,
But-
Diesel powerbombed the shit out of Bret, and he was like out of it. The thing is also, I'll let you finish your sentence. I apologize, but the thing is that when Bret got the roll up, it's because Bret's character had been well established as the excellence of execution. He was the sharpshooter. He was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And he was the best goddamn technical wrestler that you've ever seen in your life. That is not currently CM Punk's gimmick. He is a 40-year-old trying to get back into it and inching his way through jobbers. That is not the same.
That's exactly
gimmick.
my problem with this. The
Go
problem that I had with this was the fact that Punk took 8 power bombs in the ring, 1 through a table, and I get the main story was that MJF didn't want Wardlow to pin and beat Punk. He just wanted Wardlow to demolish Punk to the point that when MJF said he would be in the prime position that MJF, when him and Punk had a match, he would beat him easily. It was never about Wardlow beating Punk. It was about Wardlow weakening Punk for the eventual MJF match. But the problem is, you can't, as a viewer, you can't really assume that by how they were perspecting it. And it just seemed like MJF was just telling him to repeatedly powerbomb him, which he did, and he powerbombed him like 9 times, and somehow Punk has like the biggest resiliency in wrestling today, and could just wake up out of 9 power bombs, 1 through a table, and do the worst small package of all time, and beat Wardlow.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took all this time to build Wardlow up, having him demolish jobber after jobber after jobber, to the point that they're just like, oh, well, that's fine, but how about you fight Punk and none of it matters at the end?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make Wardlow look any stronger. If he can still lose a match after powerbombing the shit out of a guy a bunch of times, he's got like a weak ass flubber powerbomb.
Exactly.
Oh.
Like he loses to a 40-something-year-old failed UFC fighter after powerbombing him 9 times.
Yeah.
You're telling me Punk can't handle a punch to the face, but can handle 9 power bombs?
Yeah, and he also barely could beat Lee Moriarty in his second match. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you're telling me he's like just getting over on Wardlow? Wardlow must not be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Spinnerfox says that match should have ended with MJF attacking CM Punk and costing Wardlow. That would have been a better finish. Yeah, I think if they just had a CM Punk MJF match and not tried to have Brett and Diesel, they probably would have had a good match, if I'm being honest. Spinnerfox says, see, the Julie thing won't make sense, though. Pac got missed, too, so how does Pac not turn to the House of Black? We don't know that he doesn't. Didn't they just show a thing with him, too, where he had, like, bandages over his eyes and he was holding up a tarot card? So, I mean, he might.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Who knows? Well, with CM Punk,
yeah,
I love that everyone was like, oh, yeah, you know, he's going to lose to Wardlow. No. People. No. There's only one person that will beat CM Punk. We're talking long-term story. No, Marco Stunt's not wrestling anymore because he's a musician. That's why we haven't seen Marco.
He's on The Voice now.
He's on The Voice. Whatever.
Good
whatever. Good luck, Marco. But he's good, though. But anyways.
He's a really good singer.
Yeah, he's good. Actually, I've seen him perform, and he's good.
Yeah, I saw him perform at karaoke once, and I was all like, I don't know whose kid this is, but he's fucking good.
Oh, yeah, that kid. Oh, yeah.
And then it turned out it wasn't someone's kid, but he was good. Because I even texted the producer. She was back in the hotel working on homework, and I texted. I was all like, someone's kid is here. I was like, which is crazy because it's kind of a bar setup. And I was like, but he's all decked out in AEW gear, and I can't figure out who he belongs to. I was like, but the thing is, he keeps singing, and he's so good. So I was like, he's got to be the son of a wrestler or something. And then the next day we saw him on Double or Nothing, and I was like, there's the kid!
Oh, poor Marco. But no, seriously. Going back, there's only one who should be beating CM Punk. One.
Bret Hart?
And that's where the money is. We all know who I'm going to say.
Bret
Hart?
Hart?
It's the only one. What?
It's going to be Bret Hart, right?
No.
Come on.
I have a feeling
Come on. It's personal. We all know. Boom, boom.
She's going to say Colt, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say Colt. Because why? It's personal, one. Tony kind of likes that shit. He likes to stir the pot. So it's personal. Two, that's very long-term storytelling. Because from what I hear, they still don't get along in the sandbox, even they're supposed to. But they don't. It's like two
I
ends
don't
of the room.
understand contracts.
Well, it's not contracts. It's more of, these people don't like each other. They really don't. It got very, very
but they
personal.
don't like each other because of contracts, and I don't understand contracts.
That's not contracts. No, it's because of money.
Because
Not really
of
contracts. It was money.
But money is contract.
No.
And it had to do with like legal stuff.
No, but when you tell a friend, I got you and I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to pay for all of this stuff, and then you don't and you back out, then that's when you get all this other shit.
It depends on how drunk I was when I offered to cover the bill.
He doesn't drink. He's straight edge. It says it on his damn stomach.
Oh, yeah. He did.
Yeah,
That's
remember?
where he messed up. That's where
Yeah,
he messed
that
up.
fucked up.
He tattooed it on his stomach. He shouldn't have done
Yeah,
that.
he tattooed it on his stomach. He fucked up. And not only just that too, but you're dealing with someone who's a very cheap person. Hi, Cole. How you doing? And we all know it. Everyone in the industry knows it. It's no secret. And he'll even tell you that too. But, that's the one. And I swear, if it gets wasted on someone stupid, like, I don't know.
Splinter Fox thinks it's going to be Hangman Page.
No. What does Hangman have to do with CM Punk? No. If people really want, and people tell me, no, it's not going to happen because Colt's in the Dark Order. It doesn't matter if he's in the Dark Order or not. It's personal, and a lot of people know that history. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in that locker room are, ooh, they want it too. Because they all know both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Splinter Fox says cheap Colt, but he's flying first class, Amanda.
You want to know why he flies first class? Splinter Fox is all his miles. He's a million miler with United. He only flies United. Okay, that's in his rider. No. Don't let Cole Cabana fool you. They pay for coach, and he gets to upgrade because he's got all this status. And then he gets pissed off when he doesn't get to upgrade and someone else upgrades. He's like, I know they don't have status like you. Trust me. I've heard him bitch about it before. It makes me laugh.
No?
So, yeah, no, they're not paying for first class.
Yeah, she got you there, Splinter Fox.
Got you there.
None of us saw that coming, but
Nope.
hey, you asked, you got. So
and
there
you
it
can
is.
ask him, say, hey, Amanda said, and he'll say, yeah, it's true. Yeah. Please.
He doesn't mind if he's on United because he's in first class and you can't get.
No,
to
because he would say that on his podcast. He only flies United. So he's done other interviews where he's like, I only fly United.
Oh, he's trying to get. He's putting them over because he's trying to get more stuff from them. He's trying to get like United. He's like, look, I said your name on a podcast. Give me some stuff.
Not only that, but that's the one thing he says. I'm not picky about anything. When I do an indie show, there's only one thing, because he said a lot of people are divas and want like a billion things. He just wants to be flown on United.
Yeah.
That's all. Because the mileage and his upgrade.
Let's see. Oh, do you want to talk about Jake Atlas for a second? Did you see how he twisted that knee up?
I feel so hard. My heart is broken for Jake Atlas. Let me just tell you.
That was bad.
I
watched it just to see if it looked all that bad or if he just kind of like tweaked it. Because sometimes you see one, you go, oh, that's not so bad, but it's you know what I mean? Like you see it and you go, oh, but he'll be all right. That one looked pretty bad. That looked like that could be some damage. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looked.
No. And again, what's our tally now with injuries with AEW? Is it still one for every show?
Oh, injuries? Yeah,
Yeah.
Because last week was the arm thing with Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
That was awful.
Well, they had 2 in 1 week, but this week I don't know. Well, the week is young. They're still Rampage.
Yeah.
This week, but I don't know.
I'm just looking at some of the other matches. Nothing really stands out to me. It's something I even saw people talking about. Was there anything else that happened on AEW you guys wanted to hit on?
We'll say that, Will Hobbs I thought was pretty damn good. He's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
He's got a big future ahead of him. Jay Lethal, I'm like, what the hell? That was weird, seeing Jay Lethal come out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I guess Jay Lethal, in my opinion, I don't think this is probably a shock for him. It's like, you're not the center of the universe like you were with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. So either sit back, relax, take the money, or, just know. that
Yeah.
there's a pecking order, you know?
Yeah.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
them do more with Scorpio Sky. I mean, honestly, I still do after all this time. Because he's that damn fucking good, and they wasted that.
Yeah. I feel like they really missed it with Scorpio.
Speaking of Scorpio Sky, I wanted to bring up just briefly the Hangman Page segment
Oh,
with
yeah.
Dan Lambert and the returning Lance Archer. First of all, it is great to see Lance Archer back. Hopefully, they actually start doing anything with Lance.
Mhm.
But it seemed kind of weird to like. I get the connection between Lance Archer and Dan Lambert. I get it. The last time we saw Archer, he was beating the crap out of Dan Lambert. But it seemed kind of weird to have Dan Lambert come out, have Hangman bring up if Ethan or Scorpio wanted a match to just ask. But then to bring out Archer, it seemed kind of just weird. And the fact that Archer also listened to Lambert, he was like, oh, Dan Lambert was like, hey, the world champion's right there. Don't miss this opportunity. And Archer's like, I guess you got a point. And starts beating up on Page. And it just seemed kind of weird that he listened to Dan Lambert to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of making Lance look a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be always in a violent rage, right? I'll be honest, they've never portrayed him as looking all that smart. The idea that he comes up to the ring and like throws some rando stunt guy off to the side has always put me off to him immediately. That
Well,
whole
he
gimmick.
did that in New Japan as well. He did that with the Young Lions. He would beat the crap out of
Yeah.
the Young Lions.
Yeah,
KS did that.
100%. And I've never thought it was cool. Anytime I've ever seen it, Japan or otherwise, I always go, fuck this.
KES was such a great tag team, though, besides throwing lions around.
Well, I mean,
just
I'm
saying.
just not paying attention if that's what you're doing. If your gimmick is I beat up innocent people on the sidelines and see no repercussions, then you're just telling me the whole thing's kind of goofy and phony, and I'm not into certain shows of goofy and phony. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain level that I accept, but like just random assault to bystanders is one that I just go, if it happens once or twice because of some story, sure. But if that's just your gimmick, is that's what I do every time you see me on TV, then I'm like, okay, no. You do at least put somewhere in the story that you're getting fined and it's part of your contract. Is it you're getting fined and bonused or something? Spinnerfox says Archer getting back at Page since he got injured and lost in the tournament. Then I'm calling Mox going after Page too since he didn't get to finish in the tournament. That will be the next two Page feuds. I don't know if I want to even like, but I mean, I know I talked a little bit about like Mox's return here and there, but I don't know if I'd be willing to say that he'd be one of the next two feuds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because, I mean, if he's ready for it, dope. But I don't know. I could see it. It makes sense for sure. Anything you want to throw in on that?
Two final things I want to bring up. Just short, brief things. One, please stop putting Matt Hardy on my TV screen. And two, yeah, I know that sounds very harsh, but two, I think it's very convenient that they're all of a sudden pairing Adam Cole and Britt Baker together. It seems just sort of forced and out of nowhere. They're
No,
just
it's not
like,
out of nowhere.
It seems like Adam's feuding with the best friends, so they realized, oh, the best friends got Chris Statlander in there, so we might as well put Britt involved in this.
Yeah.
Which then will probably lead to another Britt Baker Chris Statlander match, which, don't get me wrong, their last match was fine, but seems kind of repetitive.
And they don't do rematches.
Repetitive.
True.
Well, they don't do rematches. And so I don't love the idea of putting Britt and Adam Cole together on screen, but I also don't hate it. There's some people being like, oh, they're just recapping old WWE because they've got Miz and Maurice on TV right now, and I'm all like, that's a cop out. It's fine. Relationships exist in every form of entertainment, so I'm not even entertaining that as like, oh, they're it's bullshit. But I don't care. I don't think either way whether they're on screen together or not. Other than I don't typically like those storylines to begin with. I'm not a huge fan of Miz and Maurice. I'm not thrilled with what they're doing with Beth and Edge right now. Like, I didn't particularly love the Seth and Becky stuff. A lot of it's been fine and been okay, but it's just never anything that's made me go like, I'm going to latch onto this one now. I think, though, they were in a position where they almost kind of needed to do something because, for one, everyone knows, but for two, the only storyline that's involved Britt Baker that had to do with the men at all was MJF consistently accusing CM Punk of sleeping with her and CM Punk not saying he didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with all those MJF promos is like he keeps saying and insinuating that CM Punk is sleeping with Britt Baker and CM Punk is not saying no. And Adam Cole is not saying, get my wife's name out of your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, no one was defending Britt. I was like, what is happening? So at least here it puts the situation together where if MJF does say something, you would expect Adam Cole would have to do something now.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they could also ignore it like they did before and just let people say those terrible things about her and move on like it's totally fine. Spinnerfox says, oh, we're going to have Sammy and Tay versus Cole and DMD and then Brandy and Cody versus Cole and DMD. Yeah, just get a whole mixed tag division together.
Yeah, Dante Martin and Julia.
Yeah, he says Candice and Johnny whenever Candice's contract is up. Yeah, yeah, Dante and Julia. Jungle Boy and Anna Jay.
Yep.
And instead of doing that battle royal with the ring, they can do some sort of battle of the couples and have like a bracelet at the end of it. Friendship bracelets.
That's kind of lame.
It's just as cool as that ring that they keep giving MJF.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Amanda, what did you think about them putting Adam Cole and Britt together?
Typical. It happened actually sooner than I thought it was going to be honest.
Yeah.
Very interesting that she comes out and does her right, and it seemed like the fans, I don't know, it was a bad crowd anyway, but the fans were more really into Adam Cole than they were really with her. So
the thing with the crowd was it seemed like a bad crowd because the crowd, there barely was any crowd. There was pictures floating around today that it was just the front row, and people were saying that people who had seats farther up were told to move down so it looked like they were at bigger capacity.
Yeah. I saw a few pictures and videos of people posting, and it wasn't even like they were posting like, hey, look at the seats. They were like, oh, look how great it is, I'm here. And they were just showing little shots, and if you watch, what stood out is because all the chairs are red. Yeah. So as they like panned around, you just saw a sea of red, and I was trying to figure out. I honestly thought it was the Kingman and Page segment. And I was like, was this on Dark or Dark Elevation? Like, did they film this like before the TV started? But that was like an actual on TV segment. So yeah, they had a pretty low capacity.
Yeah, that's why the crowd sounded so weak, because there was barely any people in the arena.
Yeah, it was really low. And I don't know. I mean, because Spinner Fox says it's COVID. Maybe. I'm not saying that that the company's dying. It just was a particularly low attendance in that crowd, and whatever reason there is, I'm sure there's plenty. You know what I mean?
I think it's COVID. I really do.
I would hope that people would be responding to COVID in such a way that they're like, maybe I won't go to this event. Like, I'm not against that mentality. I'm not saying that like AEW's in the mud. I was just like noticeably empty for what you would assume would not be an empty show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where were they at? Was this wasn't North Carolina, was it?
Yeah, it was Raleigh.
This one was in Raleigh?
Mm.
That's a tough one too, because that's a big wrestling historically.
Yeah, they were making a big deal because Matt Hardy was fighting in his quote unquote hometown.
Yeah.
And he ended up losing in his hometown anyway.
Yeah. Spinner Fox says this is true too, because this is something you've even mentioned, Amanda. He says it could be that people are sick of them because of how many freaking shows have been in North Carolina. He's like, Chicago, Texas, and New York City, they need to go to other places.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a narrative. I don't disagree with it. I don't think I know enough about everything to like really weigh in. I know that on Jeff Jarrett's podcast, he mentioned that was something that people speculated was an issue with Impact staying in studio. But he also said that he thought that was I think it was a lazy mindset, I think is what he said. He said because he also comes from the family that ran Memphis. He goes, we sold out the Coliseum every weekend. He's like, if you do something people want to see, they go. He's like, there's a lot of ways promoters can engage the audience. But I also think that was a different time and place. There's so many other things going on now. But I do think it's an interesting mentality on both sides of give people something they want to see and they show up versus like maybe after a while they don't always show up, even if it's something they want to see. Maybe they'll be more comfortable at home, especially in a pandemic.
Well, I think that a lot of people complain about New Japan really doesn't go out east.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I think a lot of it too is you got to think of these people are coming from Japan, dude. I mean, that's a long haul.
Yeah.
And most of those flights are all through LA, San Francisco, Seattle, whatever.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to come here. I don't know how well their shows in Texas have done. I have no idea. But I don't know. I just don't see Texas as a big thing. Now, where AEW, I think, would thrive is if they've come past Las Vegas. Because Las Vegas is not the West Coast, in my opinion. Because people travel from all over to go to Vegas to see these things. It's not, this is the crowd from blah, blah, blah city, on the West. Like this.
And it's also true, if you're proper traveling, like I mean, even Cinefox says people could be like, hey, I'll go to the next one. They'll be back. Like how many, didn't they do like 4 or 5 shows in Chicago back to back? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like when you do that many in one city, if it's me, like I never miss a WWE show when they come to Arizona because they only come once a year. You know what I mean? So it's really easy for me to be like, oh, I'm going to put forth the money this time because it's only going to be once a year. But if you said, hey, WWE's going to be here 7 times in the next 2 months, I'll be like, let me figure out which one I'm going to go to. I'm probably not going to go to all of them.
Yeah.
You also can't afford to go to all of them. You know what I mean? Like, you're
That's
having to cycle through.
Ask
yeah.
people. Just give me a shitty seat. I don't care. But I do care. That's the problem.
Yeah. And Spinner Fox speculates he thinks TK is staying on the East Coast due to the NFL season. And when the NFL season is over, he might travel to the West Coast. I don't know how that's a factor, but I assume that there's something to it that's smart.
Who cares? He's got private planes.
Well, I mean, there's that, but because he works with the NFL team, but the NFL teams travel. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how that all works. I don't know. That sounds like a contract to me. And he says they need to go to hit up Seattle, LA, Arizona, New Mexico. Those states are hungry for AEW.
San Francisco.
Yeah, I think you could hit a few places in California.
Because you gotta go where fucking Hobbs is from. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they would sell out if they ever went
business for nothing.
If they went to Alaska, they would sell out a huge arena there because Alaska doesn't get very many wrestling shows. They get like one every 10 years.
No, they're getting those ones that WrestlePro's doing up in Alaska, like twice a year.
That's true. WrestlePro's doing that one. WWE's will do live events out there, but it's like once every 5 years.
No, they need to do a show. Hawaii. Yeah. Honolulu has not had a WWE show in years.
Yeah.
And if there was an AEW show, I'd go. I mean, it's Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Well, let's talk some NXT.
NXT.
NXT. Yeah. It opened up with Braun Breaker. Dude, Braun Breaker's so fucking good.
So good.
Yeah, I was noticing that when I was watching it.
Yeah.
God, that guy's good.
Yeah, he's so much.
And so quick. He had no experience before this, and he's caught on so fast.
Yeah. I think that. So one thing he's mentioned in an interview was that it didn't matter what he was doing growing up, he was always Rick Steiner's kid. Because you also have to realize that Rick Steiner was a high-level amateur wrestler and a high-level football player. So when Braun Breaker as a kid was getting into amateur wrestling and football, it was always like, oh, his dad was crazy good in this sport. You know what I mean? So he said all he's ever been doing is living up to his father's name. So it's one more challenge of trying to live up to his father's name. And one narrative I've heard from a lot of random sources and interviews, as far as like backstage issues in AEW, because this ties in, is that there's always people who say, especially like the legends when they talk about it, they're like, you can only give so much advice, it's up to them and if they're willing to listen. It goes, and some people are definitely not willing to listen. Whatever that means to them, but it does sound like, hey, there's a number of people who are doing a lot of the, okay, old man, I'm going to do things my way. When you look at a guy like Braun, he doesn't come off that way at all. He has even been saying that the one piece of advice he got from his uncle and his dad was shut up and listen. And he said that he's been trying to do that like crazy. And I feel like that's probably why he seems to be catching on so fast, is he is such a high-level athlete that's a blank slate that is shutting up and listening.
Yeah.
Such a badass dude.
He's got to be something in the Steiner genes.
Right? And like, he's so comfortable talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wildest part to me.
He's a natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this in our episode that I recorded today. It's his promos are so basic, but they're not basic bad. They're basic good.
Yes.
He doesn't do anything flashy. He's not making up a catchphrase or anything. He just talks, and it works well.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it and be clear, be concise, and be real. And it comes off that way. He's doing so good. Let's see. How much of this did you end up seeing, Amanda?
Let's see.
Did you see Cameron Grimes?
No.
I wanted you to see him.
Here's my problem is, I should just watch it on Tuesdays. I really should. I mean, that's the problem I'm having.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you should just watch it.
I don't know, but 2.0, like I said, it really has not. For me, still, it's kind of like, But yeah, no, I'm sad about Cameron Grimes because you know me, I love me some Cameron Grimes.
So there's a couple things. For one, the Santos Escobar and Zion Quinn match.
Oh, that I did see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was good. I don't know. I just feel like that anything that Escobar does is like money.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think so. And I think that match actually, it kind of beat my expectation. That was the one I didn't see. I felt
yeah.
Yeah.
My only issue with it was that the fight was about Elektra Lopez, and the winner gets to keep her. And it was like, what the fuck?
That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Okay.
I was having such a hard time just enjoying the match because every time I would start really getting into it, the commentary would remind us that the winner keeps Elektra Lopez, and I was like, fuck, what?
For what?
What is that?
What? Yeah, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, Disney got rid of the auction scene in the Pirates ride. Okay? Because they're auctioning women. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just a weird kind of storyline. But the match was great, but that was just awkward.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, why? I mean, I've missed bits here and there, to be honest, but there couldn't seriously have been a segment where Elektra Lopez says, you two fight it out and I'll go with whoever wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, that's actually what happened.
Ugh.
The week before, they were bickering back and forth at each other, and she goes, "You guys you guys want to bicker so bad? You guys fight next week, and whoever wins, I leave with."
Yeah. It's like, come on.
It's awful.
I know it was. I don't know. I just thought it was just kind of like it kind of took me out of the match.
Yeah.
Because when I was reminded what was at stake, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. But the two talents are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
it's
it's
like,
just weird.
They're so good.
yeah, but I was sitting there like, can we just like not have a winner? Can we just like have some DQ? Because
She
the
leaves with
result
no
is-
one.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
She just shows up at Rumble.
The whole thing with the stipulation for me, it just seemed kind of like pointless.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of Elektra joining Legato in the first place was to even up the score with Hit Row.
Yeah.
We never even got the final result of that Hit Row feud
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
before they were brought up and subsequently released. So you're telling me there was a possibility of Santos winning and this match meaning nothing, or Zion Quinn winning, getting Elektra, and having Elektra join Legato for nothing.
That's
Doesn't
true,
make
because if she had moved on with Zion, then at least you have a new, fresh look of a character, and you can move forward. But
Yeah.
to keep her with Legato, it's just more of the same.
hmm Either way, it just seemed like an unnecessary result.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stipulation really didn't need to be a thing. Like, you didn't have to add on the stipulation of, oh, the winner leaves with Lopez. Because either way, it would seem kind of pointless. Because you put her with Legato to even up the score. So
Yeah.
because Hit Row is no longer there, you're just going to take her out. And since Zion didn't win, the whole story is kind of mute to begin with.
Yeah. Well, I will say that 2.0 is certainly developmental, and you're certainly watching things grow. And so things are going to fall off and things are going to change, and that's
Yeah.
part of what we have to deal with. But it is funny, if nothing else, to point out that that's
True.
exactly how that went. It is funny. I mean, sort of like how, like I think about the Good Brothers and how the club finished off their WWE storyline was they were killed by The Undertaker. Like, I love it. That's the last time we ever see them. Like, sometimes too, when certain talent get released, a lot of times I think about what's the last thing we saw with them, and I think about guys like Hit Row. The storyline with Hit Row is they came to SmackDown with an ego. Sami Zayn confronts them and says, "I'm the gatekeeper and the elder statesman of SmackDown. Let me show you how it's done." They were disrespectful to Sami, and they disappear forever. And Sami stays. So when you look at it from that scope, you're like, it's a kind of funny story when you think about it.
It's definitely a funny look at their release. It's that Sami Zayn, they disrespected Sami. Sami was just like, yeah, no, just go walk out that door, never come back.
Yeah, and then Sami continued to call himself the elder statesman to other people who were not quite as disrespectful at that point. And you're almost like, in storyline, did they just fucking roll with it? Like, yeah, don't fuck with Sami. Like, he'll get you out. Apparently, breaking news by Splinter Fox. He says Deanna is the new ROH Women's Champion, which adds fuel to the fire for ROH Invasion and Impact. Did
I
you
just
share
have to
someone else?
laugh.
Yeah.
I just have to laugh. No offense, Deanna.
From what I've heard, the ROH Women's Champion, I forgot her name, Roxy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a WWE tryout.
Mhm.
So for all accounts, I would assume since she lost, that probably means that she's going to WWE.
She was also front row for that Impact one, right? Deanna and Mickey were talking shit to her. So yeah, so maybe she did well. Maybe she got signed. We'll see.
Yeah. But I wouldn't I'm not surprised about. I think it's funny with Deanna just because, that was her last stomping ground before she was went to NXT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Cameron Grimes, I wanted to know if you saw him because as he was wrestling, producer was like, who is that? And I was like, it looks kind of like Daniel Bryan. And I was really confused. And then I got it because we'd like stepped out and came back and the match had started. I thought it was Daniel Bryan. I was like, this is confusing. This is a dude who looks like he's trying to be Daniel Bryan. And then like he stands up and we see him and I was like, holy shit, that's Cameron Grimes. He trimmed up his beard all nice and clean. His hair's shorter and clean. And he shaved so much of his body.
Yeah.
And his gear was just like Daniel Bryan's, that maroon with the stripe things on it.
Mm-hmm. Remember, dude cut his hair.
Yeah. Well, I know that. But he also shaved his body.
Yeah, I know. He's been doing that. Like every week, slowly. I'm like, you're losing hair. I'm like, oh, okay. Only reason why I know is because
he's got alopecia.
A friend of mine, like, will say, and I people don't fight her on it. Like, she's like the number one Trevor Lee / Cameron Grimes fan.
Oh yeah.
Fangirl. She's totally excited. She has to remind me every week that, I'm like, yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Doesn't look like he's from the backwoods of whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I think that they're actually getting to a point where I think there's a chance he ends up on the main roster soon. I think they're trying to clean him up to get him to the main roster.
I agree.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't have him looking like a hillbilly from whatever. But that's the charm of the character, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of the original NXT black and gold people being in the Rumble this year. I see Ciampa, Dunn, LA Knight, Grimes, all of them. I could see them all being surprise entries in the Rumble this year.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
How much time does Ciampa have? I'm just curious.
No idea.
I'm not sure, but I know as of late he's had a dark match on SmackDown against, I think it was LA Knight. And then he had a main event match that showed today against T-Bar. So by all accounts, it kind of seems like he might be going to the main roster.
Maybe, yeah. His SmackDown dark match was against Pete Dunne, actually.
Oh, it was Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully the idea is that they're getting eyes on him and moving them up because those dudes are legit, man. But yeah, Cameron Grimes is all greased up.
To speak about the Cameron Grimes match, I know in all accords it was a Cameron Grimes, just a jobber match, but the jobber he was against, Damon, I don't remember the dude's name, Damon something or other.
Oh, Damon
he was
Kemp.
actually Damon Kemp. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
he was actually very good for got pretty good offense and for being just enhancement talent. And I thought it was pretty interesting that Malcolm Bivens came out to the ramp for a quick second. I was like, what does Malcolm Bivens have to do with Cameron Grimes? And I thought to myself, maybe he's adding this Damon Kemp guy to the Diamond Mine.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all because Diamond Mine just lost a guy. With the releases, and Damon Kemp was out there in that amateur wrestling look, which is a lot of what Diamond Mine's been holding on to.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all. And like you said, he looked good. So
yeah, he was really impressive. So him being in the Diamond Mine, I would not mind at all.
Yeah. I want to know what you think about the Mandy Rose stuff, Jeremy.
I'm sort of to the point where I'm indifferent about Mandy Rose. Like, I was happy at first that she won the NXT Women's title, but now it's really just she either wrestles or she's in a pool flaunting. There's no in between.
Yeah, yeah, not a lot of backstage promos, in the pool promos, photo shoots.
Like, we don't even see Gigi or JC all that often anymore.
I have a feeling something's up with that specifically because they've been like suspiciously absent for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It makes me think that there's like either something they're working on or a COVID thing that they just don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? Because they were never not all together, and then the last couple weeks they've been strangely absent. So I agree, but I was curious because we were watching these segments and I was just kind of laughing at it, the whole thing, because it's like you said, she's in a pool, in a swimsuit, or she's wrestling. But I still think that this is like probably the best version of Mandy we've ever seen, in that I think she figured out that balance of what they wanted her to be on the main roster and what she could be as a wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, she was always that kind of like sex appeal diva type.
Yeah.
But she's so powerful that it's hold on, it's got a thing. It's got a message. I'm gonna see if I get a picture back. Where she's able to harness all of that, but also show what she can do in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I definitely agree that she's on a completely different level than what she was when she was on the main roster, teaming with like Sonya or teaming with Dana. She's on like a completely different level wrestling wise. She's been pretty like just overall better in NXT. Like, when she first debuted or re-debuted in NXT, I thought to myself, I don't know if this is to elevate the people around her or to hone her own abilities more. It seems a little bit of both.
yeah, I feel like that too, which I think is also pretty cool because I think I said it before too. I think that Mandy's able to finally like dive into the skill level that I think she was not even aware that she had. I think that she was surrounded by so many of the best at all times that she never thought that I don't think she ever thought of herself as the veteran, and she's able to dig into that part of her and realize, I think I know more than I thought I knew. You know what I mean?
Right. The thing though about Mandy that is sort of disappointing is the fact that a lot of her title matches as of late has been with people that aren't my favorite people, if I'm being generous about it. Like, I'm fine with Raquel. She's all right. Just Cora Jade continues to just unimpress me, and her whole shtick of repeatedly winning matches with roll-ups, I'm over. I've been over for weeks now. I want her to actually win with offense and win like an actual wrestler and not win like a small child that shouldn't be in the ring.
Well, I mean, that's how Daniel Bryan won a lot, because the idea, and it's even how Bret Hart won a lot. The package is seen as a technical wrestling move. It's a tricky pin kind of a deal. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I do think that she's a little all over the place. But I wonder if part of that is just because she's been constantly in the ring with people who are so much bigger than her and more skilled, that I think she's just still definitely finding her footing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's promising.
Her matches seem to just be the same thing. She gets beat up for a majority of the match. She gets very few offense in. She gets beat up again. Then she gets a sneak pin and wins. And the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's clever. That's fine to see. And then the second time, I'm like, oh, they did that again. Okay, that's That's cool, I guess. And then they did it in War Games. I'm like, okay, can we not? I get that this is her thing now, but I'm I'm overseeing it. I'm overseeing the same thing of, especially the fact that in War Games she took that bump off the cage, sold the rest of the match, and then was the one to get the pin for doing nothing but selling, which is kind of souring for me.
But she's also I mean, part of that story was that she had an injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea was that everyone else was fighting harder to protect her, where she was kind of bird's eye view on the whole thing. So she saw an opportunity that other people wouldn't see because they're in the thick of it, and she was just enough removed. So it was kind of like cleverly put together in that way. But I mean, I think we're going to get more out of her as we go. But I do think, so. Like, if you look at even Daniel Bryan at Ring of Honor, he called himself, was it the wrestler with the best small package, I think is what he called himself or something, because it was like the best small package in the business, because that was just how he was consistently winning. If he could get you in the small package, you were done for, because it was like the best, tightest small package. And I mean, it's always been kind of funny to me, but hey, if the 24/7 titles taught us anything, it's that a schoolboy is absolutely devastating.
True.
And actually, Taz said that he thinks that the schoolboy is one of the more dangerous moves in wrestling, and he said in his podcast, because it's one of the few ways he hurt himself was he hurt himself like twice in different schoolboy roll-ups, like hurt his ankle real bad. So like, okay. Let's see. Oh, Joe Gacy and Harlan as a tag team is so fucking cool, dude.
It is.
It sounds cool.
It's such a cool dynamic. Just this super positive, happy-go-lucky cult leader that thinks he could do no wrong with the psycho, murderous monster behind him. And just the fact that Joe Gacy did all that to convince higher-ups to get them a qualifying match, for Harlan to get them disqualified because he had more intentions on murdering Malik Blade than being a tag team.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious to me.
Yeah. Well, it was... Dude, I'm telling you, it looks like he shaved his eyebrows. The dude's a psycho. And I love that Harlan has done this. He's gone from everyone saying he looks like a young Brock Lesnar to people saying he might be a serial killer. And I think that's a really cool way to shift what people are saying.
And I love how in all the backstage promos that they have, the entire time Joe Gacy's cutting the promo, he's just dead staring at that cameraman, and looks at, like, at any moment somebody could snap their fingers and he would charge at the cameraman and just disembowel the cameraman at a split second.
Yeah. I remember that one time Eddie Kingston was getting in the ring and the cameraman was on the apron and he yelled at him, "Get off the ring, you don't deserve to be up there," and the guy like jumped down. I feel like this guy can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Real quick in the chat, a comment about dirt sheets. Actually, I saw this too, but if you remember recently, so the dirt sheet said Vince McMahon's house was for sale, and then it turns out that some random reader of the dirt sheet was all like, if you just look up who's posting it, it's not Vince McMahon. They said, oh, our bad. And then they said that Ric Flair owned the rights to the man, and someone just went to the public copyright site and said, oh, if you look here, WWE clearly owns it. And they said, oh, our bad. And you're just like, what are you guys doing as journalists? Well, the new one that's been really good, as pointed out in our YouTube chat, Thunder Rosa says, according to the dirt sheets, I'm married to Tony Khan. This is true. They put in one where it said that Tony Khan gave it was very supportive advice prior to his wife's match against Britt Baker before she went to the unsanctioned match. And they referred to Tony and his wife Thunder, and all I could think was, I hope Brian doesn't read this. You know?
He and Brian probably had a really good laugh about it.
If I'm him and I'm reading it, I'm like looking over, being like, is there something you want to tell me?
Why wasn't I aware of this?
Yeah. Like, holy, come on. But yeah, I like that they just do a bang up job of like truly researching everything before they put it out there.
Yeah, they do a wonderful job of doing their research before just spewing bullshit.
Yeah. Nothing like that could ever bite them in the ass and hurt their reputation.
No. They see it once and it's got to be true.
Yeah. And if I remember right, it was like in passing in the way they worded it. I wonder if, I mean, I don't know what's wrong with them. You know what I mean? Like people reading like, what? I knew it. That's what I really want. Let's see what do you think about the stuff they're doing with Boa, Jeremy?
No, I got so uninterested as soon as Xylee was taken out of the whole story, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a chance. Mei Ying is still a thing. Maybe she'll get me interested in Boa. And then for some apparent reason, they took Mei Ying out of it, and I guess Boa has absorbed Mei Ying or something, or I don't know. It's so uninteresting to me, plainly because of just Boa. Boa is so boring and uninteresting to me that the fact that they have this super cool character and just character concept on a guy like Boa is kind of disappointing.
But he's also really good in the ring. Like the match with Solo Sikoa was great, but then it fell apart with all this mystical stuff, and I was like, I don't know what we're doing anymore. Like,
yeah.
Why do I feel
Me,
like
I'm not the big. I don't think Boa is all that great in the ring. He's kind of just boring to me.
oh, I like it because he does all the martial arts style stuff, and I just think it's a fresh look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think he's in the right spot because I'm all like, oh yeah, if he keeps doing this, he's gonna be real fucking clean with it. But like, yeah, I think he's got a really interesting and unique style.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder if they're doing all that face paint stuff because they just don't know how to get a character across with him.
Yeah, and
He just needs a good manager, I think.
Yeah, the character itself is so unique and so like captivating, but the person behind it for me is just hard to connect with.
Spinner Fox brings up a good point. He says Thunder Rosa and TK versus Adam Cole and DMD. That's the match right there. That'll main event Double or Nothing this year.
Have Adam Cole win the world title or the TNT title along the way, title for title, winner takes all.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wet dream for
Tony Khan wins the TNT or AEW world title.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, Tony Khan with the world title, then comes out in a little do-rag.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Sherlock says I need to find a good GCW podcast. Kevin Gill has one.
Yep.
Look up Kevin Gill. That's the best GCW podcast you're going to find.
And he does it with Brett Lauderdale.
Yeah. What up, though?
Mr. GCW.
Yeah, I love Kevin Gill. Yeah, and they're doing great stuff over there. He says GCW's got him hooked. It makes sense, dude. GCW's doing cool stuff right now. Although Tony D'Angelo and Pete Dunne, crowbar on a pole match, I was not thrilled about this crowbar bit, but the match actually turned out great.
The match itself, the actual wrestling part was very good, but what you really expect from Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo, the match concept, we don't need pole matches, in my opinion.
Not
Insert
often.
item on a pole. It's just no.
Yeah.
It's hard to get behind because there's so many inconsistencies with the match in general. Like, why is it if Tony D'Angelo could grab the crowbar, why could then Pete Dunne use the crowbar? Because if Tony D'Angelo is going to grab the crowbar, then why would he grab the crowbar if Pete Dunne will also have the opportunity to use the crowbar.
Well, the idea is that you're hoping that you can use the item first and better than the other person will.
True.
If I can get to a bat before you, there's a good chance I can win this. You know what I mean? If we're doing a leg race to a bat and it's the first person to grab it can swing it, I'm gonna try and get that first because I could probably, even if you're able to weasel it away from me, I can weaken you enough to where it won't be as bad. Is my thought.
The other inconsistency that I found is that they said that the match ends by pinfall or submission, with the person grabbing the crowbar can then use it. But what if nobody even tries to go get the crowbar? Is it still ending by pinfall or submission?
Yeah, you don't have to get it. I forget what it was. There was one match I remember a long time ago that was a pull match thing where it was like that, and no one ever got to it. They just did the match. Same with like how cage matches are like, oh, you can win by pinfall, submission, or escaping the cage. I always really like the cage matches where they win by pinfall or submission, where it's not a race to get away. It's a no. We're just gonna stay in here and beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't happen much, but yeah. Oh, Amanda, before we talk about the main event, Wendy Chu was in a match here.
I don't know why I like that her character. I don't know why.
She's
It's
so
just kind of
good.
cute. It caught me off guard, especially because of what she was doing before. But it's really cute. I like it. I don't know. I was like, I love this little gimmick. And it was just, something cute about it. Something different.
A
It was
lot
very
of people
different.
were drawing comparisons to Orange Cassidy as soon as they saw
Kind
it.
of. But
Because-
I saw Snorlax in her. And I thought it was cute. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. Because I think it was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago when she was sleeping, and I don't remember who it was. Like, who's that? Oh, it was Indy Hartwell and what's her face? Yeah, who's that? Yeah. Like, who's
'cause-
sleeping over here? Yeah.
Yeah, her constantly sleeping thing. And then, I mean, Snorlax makes sense. Because I was thinking kind of, there's definitely Orange Cassidy shades in there just because, like, as soon as, like,
Yeah.
they run at her to clothesline her, she yawns and leaned back, yawning, stretching, and missed the clothesline because of that. And I was like, okay, that's funny. But I wasn't super into it, but you said you were, and so I just wanted to give you the chance to tell me why you liked it so much.
Well, I just think it's really, it's different and it's kind of cute because I think you can get away with a lot when you have a woman doing kind of this kind of stuff than a dude. Because Orange Cassidy, I think, honestly, it's like, it's old now. It's really old.
Yeah.
And with this one, it's a fresh kind of take with it because you've got you're sleeping, but, she's a little bit more animated than Orange Cassidy. Because Orange Cassidy's just,
And she went for that
You know what I
pin.
mean?
Like, so she went up, she laid on top for the pin and then goes, like, puts her hands up like she's going to fall asleep while pinning. And I was all like, okay, this is a bit.
But it was cute. I'm like, this is cute. I love this.
Yeah.
Especially to have that transition from going for, the Tien Shaw. We all knew, pretty convinced that it was her underneath.
Oh,
To
yeah.
this, total huge switch. So,
Yeah.
kind of nice. Whereas, like, Boa, I mean, they could have, like, given Boa something else, but obviously, no. They're just like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Is what it
that's
is.
A little weird.
Yeah.
All right, well, then let's go main event. AJ Styles, Grayson Waller. What'd you think, Jeremy?
I thought this match was incredible. But that doesn't really surprise me because AJ Styles is awesome and Grayson Waller has also been awesome. I wasn't a big fan of Grayson Waller when he first started as a babyface, but as soon as War Games, the whole build for War Games started, and they did basically a double turn between LA Knight and Grayson Waller,
Yes.
it was like a complete different side of Grayson Waller that was just so much more enjoyable than goofy Australian playboy who gets turned down by women.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. I was super not into Waller for a while. I was like, plus I was also getting Waller, Duke Hudson, and Andre Chase confused with each other all the time. I couldn't figure out which one was which. But I feel like that Waller's definitely stepped out and into it, this character in such a badass way. And yeah, this match with AJ, dude, there's something about AJ right now that feels so different and fresh, and it almost feels like he's gone back a few years. You know what I mean? Like he's fresh by revisiting his old attitude. You know? Like, I don't know. I was super impressed by this whole thing. It was awesome. And then at the end of it, Styles brings out his friend LA Knight, former Eli Drake, to come out and beat the shit out of Waller. And I loved it. And the crowd was cheering for him. I mean, we've been saying it the whole time. Even when LA Knight was a heel, I was like, I don't know how these people are booing him. Like, he's so good. But to see him come out and team up with AJ that way. Because then I thought about that. Like, what if we actually get a team of AJ and LA Knight for a little bit? Like, if LA goes to the main roster. That could be dope.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
What was that? What happened? Yes. All right. Yeah, I loved it. The big return. Like you said, the big double turn. Anything else on that one, Amanda or Jeremy?
No, because I didn't get to see it. But I saw the post little thing on Twitter that they put out. That gave me all the feels. Because like finally, they're the crowd is getting really into LA Knight.
Yeah.
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 I loved that. Yeah.
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 Need more of that in my life.
Yeah, seeing LA Knight get cheered is always good. He's also so charismatic. The idea that he wasn't going to win over that crowd seemed like a matter of time.
Yeah.
And they've got people hating Grayson Waller so bad.
Oh, I saw.
What an amazing use of this, too. You know what I mean? Like you said, to turn LA Knight babyface and Waller super heel in such a short period of time, I was like, ugh, so well done. Incredible. And I hope we see more of AJ doing stuff. That was sick. Or at least see more of this kind of thing where someone veteran from the main roster comes down and has a little program with somebody and goes back, you know?
Yeah, I genuinely like this current AJ Styles where he's just, it seems like he's just putting people over, even if he wins or loses. He beat Grayson and said, "You're good, you're just not phenomenal." So he still beats him and still puts him over in the end anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, and AJ is one of those crazy characters, too, where if he wins, you don't think less of the person who lost. Yeah. And if he loses, you don't think less of AJ. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, win or lose, people are only elevated in those situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not less of a wrestler because you lost to AJ. It's fucking AJ Styles.
Exactly.
You know? And AJ's not a loser now because he lost to someone. You go, oh my God, that person beat AJ Styles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's just on such a level that win or lose, everyone comes out better. And I don't think that's an easy task to do. And he's doing it. So utilize it while you can. Especially if this is his last run, which it might be.
Yeah.
You know, he said before he might not sign another contract. Senator Fox says, yeah, it was a throwback to TNA, saying you're good but not phenomenal. Yeah. That's what I mean. This feels like an older AJ, like a younger AJ in that sense. Like, I feel like this is kind of a TNA attitude for AJ. Mm-hmm. You know, this also feels a little bit like AJ and Cena rivalry AJ. Like, there's something about it that's, like, freshly old. And it's all like, ooh, this is cool.
It seems like he's kind of just, like, reverting back to, like, main event caliber AJ after being, like, perpetually tag team mid-card status for years. Or at least for, like, a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely an elevated mid-card, but you also can't argue with where his matches lie, so.
Yeah.
Big Fox think he should cut his hair. But yeah, I don't think I've had anything else on those. Do you?
Nope.
No. Yeah, congratulations to Thunder Rosa and Tony Khan. Finally getting the word
from
out.
Anywhere? Are they registered? I want to know. So Thunder, if you're listening, girl, tell me where you're registered at. We want to give you a gift.
Yeah, we'll send some gifts. Sprinter Fox says, Bailey, I hope she comes back for the Rumble. She's been training like crazy. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good. I think if people want to check out more of Jeremy and his brother Justin, you've seen Justin before, and now you know Jeremy, you can check out the In Time Wrestling podcast. Jeremy, you want to put that over at all?
Yeah. Me and, like Marsh just said, me and my brother Dustin, we finally decided to sit down and start a wrestling podcast. It was his idea, but it didn't really take much convincing to get me to join, because I've always wanted more than just live tweets to get my opinion out there. So we finally started a podcast, the In Time Wrestling Podcast, where you can find on a wide variety of different podcasting services. I know not Apple, because
It takes time.
Apple
takes a couple weeks.
Yeah. Other than that, you could find me on Twitter at JeremyTime721.
Yep. And if you guys want to check it out, if you go to WrestlingOnTheRocks.com, there's a link in the front page for the shop. It'll take you to our new Teespring shop. We are no longer using the former platform. This is our new platform, but that does mean we have pint glasses, t-shirts, tote bags, coffee mugs, stickers, wine tumblers is one of our favorites. And I want you guys to know that the way that we went through and priced it, to be completely upfront with everyone, on PWTs we made $7 a t-shirt for sale, which was nice. But in order to get these things in people's hands cheaper and easier, I brought the price down of everything on Teespring because I can control that. So we're making less than $2 on every single item, which means that you can get a classic tee for $13.50. That does mean that every item there is real close to just literally making nothing on it. And I do want to be able to buy a drink if you buy a merch. I think it's only fair. Yeah. So we have it just shy of $2 on every single item on that site. Hopefully it can encourage someone to maybe get more than one pint glass, because maybe it'll be easier to afford. If I'm not taking home $10 a glass, maybe you can get 2 glasses instead of 1, and all of that in between. So if you like a shirt, instead of having to wait for some sort of 10% or 15% off deal before that was still going to have crazy hefty shipping, at least now maybe you can get 2 shirts for the price of 1 at all times. But yeah, shirts as low as $13.50, premium tees are $18. We're making shy of $2 on every single product there. If there's any item that anybody sees and wants it in a different style or with a different color or anything like that, or hey, I want this logo on a pint glass, if you reach out to us at WOTR the show or me directly at Ref Marsh, odds are we can make it happen. But yeah, check it out. We got brand new Drinking Buddies shirts, and we're going to be having Drinking Buddies stickers coming soon as well. But we have whole new teams. We got the original OG team of me, Clump, and Kev, and we got 2 new designs of the Thursday night Chaser crew of me, AmandaJayne, and Clump, and the Wednesday night crew of me, Clump, and Sportsbeard. So check it out, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com, and click on the shop.
Oh, by the way,
Go ahead.
if you do get our new shirt, sponsored, not sponsored, just so you know, if we actually go to a Sonic before 10 a.m., it's 99 cents each, so 2 people can drink. Knowing's half the battle. There you go. Sprinter Fox does say Amanda Rosa doesn't want Stark's tea as a gift. Well, maybe she does, though. I wouldn't give her that. She'd be, what's this shit? Yeah.
And then Sprinter Fox says, if Bailey's not winning the Rumble, then I don't want her to return. It would be a complete waste. If you think about it, Bailey would have been winning some awards that DMD has if she didn't get injured. Just saying, Bailey's the real head of the table in New York. Yeah, her injury really... I remember we were doing our boozies at the end of the year. I was looking at all the list and being like, I hate that Bailey's not in this list. Like, she needs to come back. But that's it, guys. We're at WOTR the show. I'm at Ref Marsh. With me today at JeremyTime and MsAmandaJayne. Any final thoughts, anybody?
No, thank you.
I really
so much for
want
putting it
that
on.
wedding registry of Tony Khan and Thunder Rosa.
Well, I mean, they're already married, according to the sheets.
Well, I didn't know.
I know.
Because, it'd be great. And if it shows, like, the history of things, I can tell you that certain people probably went cheap. Sorry. I just sneeze there.
Yeah. Put a
I think MJF
retroactive
is a cheap one, too.
retroactive registry. Guys, we'll be back next week for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's the last call, guys.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.